what is up everyone, this is PvT-Mitten's and I'm going to be doing my top 10 Game of the Years for 2017. I've never done this before. I've done top lists of, games for different genres and that, but never a Game of the Year list for me. So I hope you enjoy it. This list will change throughout the next, couple of months because I've not played every game this year, of course. Like, I'm not made of money. In fact, December is when I really picked up most of the games that came out this year, because it's December. I always get a lot of stuff into that when I did my pickup video. So yeah, I'm going to be doing my top 10 Game of the Years and my 5 disappointing games. I'm not going to do a separate list, that's why I just thought I'd do 5 games that disappointed me this year. So hope you guys enjoyed, and little rules before you start. No HD collections, of course. And the game must have come out this year. If it was a Japanese release, and then the rest of the world got it this year, I am counting it because the rest of the world got it, this year, more or less. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed, and let's begin. The least disappointing game of the year, but I still think it's a disappointing game, and I know Devil's not going to agree with me here, but once again, me and him always don't agree on stuff. You got to remember that. That is Cuphead. I like Cuphead for its graphics. I mean, everyone loves the graphics of Cuphead. Some of the bosses are really cool and really well designed and great to fight. But if you played this on easy, this game's about an hour long, not even. I think it's just a tad overrated because the Xbox needed a game. It really did, and this game filled that void. The hit detection can be a bit iffy sometimes with this game as well. I have been hit sometimes when I should not have been hit, and the parry system doesn't work all the time when it should. But yeah, but it's not a bad game at all. I mean, if you think it deserves to be in the top 10, it sort of does in a way, but it just disappointed me, especially with all the hype surrounding it. So yeah, that's one of the runner-ups. The next runner-up is Call of Duty World War II. What to say about this game? Shit story, good multiplayer, and decent zombies. And also, why it's on this list, you may ask, is I always buy my Call of Duties for story, and this has the second worst story in the series next to Black Ops 3. That's my personal opinion. Multiplayer is really enjoyable though, so that's a bonus. That's why it's not in the bad list if I was ever do one. And also, even though the game is on disc, you can't play the game without an internet connection. So you actually can't play the game at all if you have no internet. So considering it's got a campaign and you can play zombies by yourself, so well done to Activision, you fucking asswipes. But yeah, runner up. It's not a terrible game by any means. So the next one's going to cause another controversy, like Cuphead. That is Horizon Zero Dawn. I personally think this is a very overrated game. I like the graphics. I mean, who doesn't? I like Aloy as a character. She's really likable. Pity everyone else in the game is just terrible compared to Aloy. Even just on their own, they're just terrible. The story is horrendously bad. Like, I'm not spoiling it, but when you haven't played it yet, when you finish it, you'll just be like, is that it? Is that really it? But the gameplay is really good. I like the enemy design. Great to fight the enemies too, actually. So yeah, it's why it's a runner-up. I think this is a very overrated game, and I know a lot of people are going to be saying that it deserves to be in the list, especially over some of the games I've chosen, but remember, it's my list. So yeah. The next game, a lot of people will agree it was disappointing. Gran Turismo Sport. I'm not going to go on too much about it because I have done a review for it. It's on this list because it's got hardly any content within its tracks and cars, and it's got really no story mode, let's be honest. That's really why it's on the list. Everything else holds up. The graphics, the gameplay are all fantastic, so the lack of content and story is why it's on this list. So yeah. So my most disappointing game of the year, which I actually think it's a bad game, but I didn't put it in the bad game list because I probably won't do one. This is going to piss everyone off, I know it is, and a few of my friends know this is coming. That game is Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. I think this is the worst Zelda game of the main series that's ever been made. I think this is the most overrated game of the year, the most overrated game in the series in general, even more so than the likes of, say, Skyward Sword, where I always bag Skyward Sword for getting its 10s that it got. But at least the fan base knew the problems with Skyward Sword, with the whole, every couple of minutes being asked, you can press this to do that and that. It's still giving you the tutorials and the whole motion control. This, on the other hand, this is a bad Zelda game. If this did not have Zelda on its name and it just was called something else, Breath of the Wild, I think this game would have really, really been scrutinized the way it should have been. Because it's got Zelda in the name, it got 10s everywhere, and because the Switch needed a game at the time, this became its game. The world's the best thing about this game. I love running around the world and, interacting with different things and fighting all the enemies. Voice acting, shit. Story's pathetic. Bosses aren't very likable. Dungeons are just at best. And the whole weapon, breaking every few hits is ridiculous, especially for a Zelda game. I mean, why did this game get all the free passes when no one else, when other games get ripped apart for it, yet this game just gets away with it because it's Zelda. It goes to show that if you've got a big franchise name on the title, you'll get away with it. So yeah, now that that's off my chest, let's actually get to my top 10 list. I hope you guys enjoyed this part anyway, because I know no one's going to enjoy that part. So let us begin. This one's going to piss a lot of people off, especially after showing Horizon, Cuphead, and Zelda. So my number 10 for Game of the Year, FIFA 18. Now before you say anything, I don't play online in any FIFA game. I don't play the FUT cards or foot cards. They're the loot boxes of this game, essentially. I play it just to play the Journey, which, for anyone that doesn't know, the Journey is a story mode that was added in FIFA 17 and continues on to this one. I would highly recommend getting FIFA 17 and 18 when they're cheap, just to play their story modes. That's why it's on the list. I really do like the main character, Alex Hunter. I like the style, the story it goes with, and the way his journey, hence the name, it plays out. And the gameplay is great for FIFA, especially considering I've not really enjoyed FIFA since FIFA 11. So to show you that that's how long it took for me to actually really enjoy another FIFA game, it's a pretty good testament. So yeah, graphics, gameplay is good, story is amazing. That's why it's on this list. But yeah, that's really it. If you don't want it to be on the list because of the sheer fact of the microtransactions and the FUT cards, by all means, you are right. It's a shame because of EA, but remember, I wanted to play it for the story. Hence, like Call of Duty kind of thing. So number 10. So number 9, we have Justice 2. Now, a lot of people love this game. I do myself, so I don't really need to explain it too much about it. Don't need to justify it, kind of thing. Graphics are really good. I personally don't think it's the best looking game they've done. I still think Mortal Kombat 10 is the better looking game. I really do like the story. I think Injustice 1 had a better story, but it was good nonetheless. The gameplay is perfect for this, the way NetherRealms does their gameplay. The multiplayer, you can customize your characters now with, change their gear, loadouts, shit like that there, which I like it, but we'll see how it goes in the future, whether or not they abuse this big time. But yeah, not really too much to say about Injustice 2 because it's just a fighting game, more or less. So it's number 9. So number 8, South Park: The Fractured Butthole. I loved playing it. I'm a huge South Park fan. I have been since it was aired first in Australia, when it first aired in Australia, sorry. So I've bought every game since. It's not as good as Stick of Truth. I don't think no one would disagree with that. But we're talking about a game this year, of course. This is a fucking phenomenal RPG. This year was great for RPGs. It definitely was a good year for RPGs. The story is really good. Not the best writing compared to Stick of Truth, but there is some moments that really do make you laugh. It's more of a grid-based RPG as opposed to turn-based Mario RPG, the first one was. I actually almost got the platinum to this. I only need one more trophy and then I've got the platinum. And also, if you buy the game, you get the first game free digital with it, so that is also a bonus. So well done to Ubisoft for that. Graphics, it looks amazing. Looks like the actual show. Gameplay is very good. Story, it's funny as hell. It's good. I don't really like the Coon series. I never did compared to other parts of the show. Because the first one was based off, the whole console war thing they did, and this one is obviously superheroes. If they do a third game, I hope it's based off the anime style, with the weapons episode. Forgot the name. That should be the third game. I would love to see that done. So yeah, that's number 8. So number 7, Nier Automata. A lot of people put this in the top of the list for Game of the Year. I don't think it's the best game of the year, but by God, it's definitely one of the best games Platinum's ever done. What to say about this without ruining it? Utterly superb story mode. Music's the best of the year. It's better music than any other game that I've got on this list. Gameplay is great. It can change up from a hack and slash to a bullet game, a side scroller, that kind of thing. So it's got multiple different game modes. There's multiple endings, so it'll keep you coming back to the game. What can I really say without spoiling anything about this game? Because I know a lot of people have not played Nier Automata. Get it. It's one of the best games experiences of this generation. And it's just, I think the games that are coming up are better than it. That's why it's not so high on the list. But, yeah, that's that. So, number 6, I believe. Tekken 7. What to really say, I can't really go on too much about this as well, like I did with Injustice 2. It's Tekken with really good graphics, not the best I've seen in a fighting game, of course. Obviously, NetherRealms are better at doing the graphics. But my God, the gameplay in this game is utterly superb. I think this is a far better game than Injustice 2, hence why it's higher on the list. Fighting Akuma from Street Fighter in this is so hard, but so satisfying. I really like the multiplayer. I love the content's amazing, especially for how much you can get the game for now. What can I really say without going too much on? The story's shit, but no one plays any Tekken game for a story mode kind of thing. So yeah, forgetting the story, everything else is fantastic. It really is top notch, top tier fighting material. So that's why it's there. So down to the top 5, so I hope you enjoy. I haven't finished this game yet. That's why I paused there. I have got to near enough the end of the game, so bear with me why it's still so high on the list, okay? That is Tales of Berseria. Now this game came out last year in Japan, but everyone else got it this year, so I am counting it as this year. I have multiple Tales games. Like, I have the Xillia games, I have the HD collection on the PS3, I have Vesperia on Xbox, but I've never played them, I've never got around to playing them. And I thought to myself, you know what, I'll play this one because I've heard that it's arguably the best. And I thought, well, I'll play it, and IGN said it went for like 40 hours. I'm about 48 hours in and I'm still not finished, so good lie there, IGN. But the game itself, so this is my first Tales game, remember. This is nothing short, in terms of story-wise, a masterpiece. The main characters of the game, you got Velvet, the character on the front. She's in my top 5 favorite female lead protagonists in any game in general. That's how good she is. You feel so sorry for her, you follow the story, the way it plays out, and it has so many... I don't want to spoil it because I know a lot of people have not played it. You feel so sorry for her, and it's just a shame that a lot of people didn't buy this. The supporting cast, which you have like 5 other people to accompany you in battle, are all likable. In fact, a lot of the characters are likable in this game. Even the villains are likable in this game. Now, the graphics aren't very good at all. They're very early PS3, to say the least. The combat, on the other hand, I like the combat, but it's not the best in the genre of action RPGs. But the story alone and the amount of content in this game puts it so high on this list. It is, to me, one of the greatest stories ever put into an RPG. And because I haven't finished it, it may even be higher, depending on how it ends. So, sort of cheated there by putting a game that I've not finished, but I am very close to finishing. So, yeah, that's Tales of Berseria. Now we're down to 4. I can't show you number 4 because it's digital only, so I'll just talk about it. That's Sonic Mania. Wow. We got 2 Sonic games this year. I personally liked Forces. I don't think it's terribly good, but terribly bad. But Sonic Mania, I think we can all agree, is fucking phenomenal. It is one of the best Sonic games ever made. I personally would put it at the top 3 Sonic games that's ever been made. And the best thing about it was done by a fan, not by Sega themselves. Its levels are fantastic. The music is phenomenal. I really like the special stages. Very short on the other hand, very easy compared to some of the other Sonic games. I like the boss battles. The boss battles I actually think are some of the best in the series. And if you've not bought it, please go and get it. Support this dude that made this game. Show Sega that they should put it on disc and make a sequel to it. Best platformer of the year by far for me. I have not played Mario, of course. But Sonic Mania, phenomenal. Really is phenomenal, and it's at number 4. So down to the top 3. My number 3 is a game that I've always knew it was going to be in the top 3 throughout the entire year. But you've seen me talk about this before. That game is Resident Evil 7. I'm not going to go too much about this because I have done a review for it. Resident Evil 7 is a phenomenal game. It's after the damage the Resident Evil games have been doing to the series after 5. You know, you got 6, Operation Raccoon City, Revelations 1 and 2. Revelations 1 was alright. And the iOS game, which was the third-person shooter one. We got a first-person shooter. The second time the series has ever done it. The original Dead Aim was first-person, but everyone forgets Dead Aim for some reason. So when this was announced, people were like, oh, it's a shooter, it's going to be shit. Well, not only did we get one of the best Resident Evil games that's ever been made, we got arguably one of the best games of the year. And I really love the house. I love the whole family that's in the house. I love the gameplay. It's very similar to the first Resident Evil game in terms of, you know, atmosphere, maintaining your weapons, supplies, that kind of stuff. I haven't played the DLC to this yet, but I will get around to it. It's an utter fantastic game. If you've not played Resident Evil, definitely pick it up in the January sales if you can, or if you've still got time to get it somewhere really cheap, definitely get it. It's, to me, one of the best games Capcom's ever made. And I know that's a very big thing to say considering how much Capcom has made that's really good. But yeah, Resident Evil 7, utter fantastic. Graphics look good. Story's very, very enjoyable. Didn't like the main character too much, but I like the other characters. And it's a pretty, about 9-hour long game, maybe 9 to 10, depending on how well you play and what difficulty you play it on. So yeah, number 3, Resident Evil 7. So now we're down to the top 2. This was a hard thing to do. Whether I wanted number 2 at number 1 or number 1 at number 2. These two fought each other throughout the year for me, for Game of the Year. But I had to pick who was going to come second. So I thought to myself, alright, what would I pick really at number 1? So it was decided. Number 2, Neo. Now, you heard me 2 seconds ago saying that this could have easily been number 1. I put it number 2 because I just think number 1 is a better game, so bear with me with that. What happens when you get the Souls games merged with the combat of Ninja Gaiden? Well, you get Neo. What a phenomenal game, and I'm really annoyed that this game got snubbed throughout the VGAs. It got snubbed by other people in their top 10s, like IGN and all that shit. This game deserves so much more praise. This game got stellar review. I think this game's like at an 89 on Metacritic still. This game sold very well when it came out, but no one remembers it anymore. It's very similar to Tales, except the sales, this did a lot better than Tales, of course. So yeah, it's a Souls-style game with the combat of Ninja Gaiden. Story is, yeah, it's okay, I suppose. It's there just to be there. But the combat and the enemy design are fucking phenomenal. If there's one thing this game beat every game there on this list, including number one, it's the combat and the gameplay. Playing this game, I haven't even bought the DLC, and it's that good. Now, I've heard that the DLC is utter fantastic for this game, and it probably would put it over the first game on the list that I've got here. But it's amazing. Graphics are really nice as well. They're not amazing, but they are really nice. Please get this game if you have not played it and you're a Souls fan. Please, it's just, even if you're not a Souls fan in general, just get it and just enjoy it. It's really that good, and it's number 2. Could have easily been number 1 as well, but I have Neo at number 2. Now, what could beat Neo? Nier Automata and Resident Evil 7, just to name 3 games that a lot of people would put on their top 3 list. Well, it's a game that no one talks about. It's a game that's the fan base of this of this series agrees it's one of the best in the series. In fact, it could be the best in the series. And it got good reviews when it came out. It sold very poorly because no one bought it. That game is none other than Sniper Elite 4. I've been a fan of this series ever since the first one on PC. So I bought this game well, I didn't buy it day one, but I ordered it day one. It didn't arrive until about a week, 2 weeks after. I showed you in the pickup video. Now, I personally did not like. I didn't mind 3 in a sense, but it would have been a disappointing game when it came out if I had done a list that time. This game is Game of the Year for me for a couple of reasons. 1, the amount of content in the game. 2, the game, the story itself is actually very enjoyable. I love the level design in the story. The multiplayer is fun when you can get people to play, if people are still playing it. The gameplay, it's you know, the X-ray, sniping, all that there. Nothing new for the series, of course, but it's been perfected to a tier for this series. The graphics are very good as well for a game Rebellion doesn't have the money anymore. So, for the Rebellion to actually show that they can do this with a lack of money is very good. And I've got the first DLC, the Hitler DLC. I haven't bought any other DLC, but even the Hitler DLC alone was fantastic. Now, I've heard the DLC itself is very good as well, so I will be getting DLC for that. To me, it's the best game of the year. It had everything going against it. No one bought it. No one remembers it. Hell, I bet you a lot of people are watching this now thought it was a game that came out last year. It just is that good. I really do like the game. And another thing that this game does that all these games don't do, and this is going to sound very weird, do you know it has 3D capability? Something that a lot of games don't do anymore. I mean, the last game I remember doing this was Crysis 3 on the PS3 and PC, if you had a monster PC to do it. But yeah, I like the character. I like everything about this game. The story is about 7 hours long, so it's not too long. I'd say it's welcome. You've also got wave modes, which is essentially horde mode from, say, Gears of War. But it can shape it up. You can be fighting enemies 1 minute, and the next minute it can bring in tanks to fight you. That kind of stuff. It's really good. If you want to do this whole game stealth, you can do that. If you want to do this whole game run and gun, you can do that. It gives you the opportunity to play the game the way you want in terms of, you know, the way it is. And some of the areas are like the maps, because it's like a mission-based game. Some of the maps are really big. They're not very small and, you know, you constrict it to a small hallway kind of thing. They're very open and give you a lot of opportunity to plan your attack. That's why I love this series. And as I was saying at the very start, I think this may be the best in the series. It may have dethroned the first game in the series, and that's saying a lot. So yeah, that's really it. That's my number 1, and that's my game of the year. It has been my game of the year since it came out. Neo was the only one to actually fucking compete with it, almost dethrone it for that. But I thought to myself, no, only because of the sheer fact that Neo is a AAA game. This wasn't. This had everything going against it. Neo did not have everything going against it. So yeah, that's my top 10, guys. Now you're probably thinking, as I said before, I've not played every game that came out this year. I've not played Shadows of War. Mario I've not played. I've not played Persona 5, you know, all that kind of stuff. So I can't count them because it's not fair to count some I've not played. So yeah, special shout out to 2 other games that almost made the top 10 list. Uncharted Lost Legacy was actually a very enjoyable game. Almost got on the list. And the other game that almost got on the list was what was it? Outlast 2. Couldn't think there. Outlast 2 is another game that almost made the list, but I didn't put it on because it's a very short single player game. I thought, well, it's not fair to put it on the list, that kind of thing. But yeah, that's my list, guys. I really hope you enjoyed my list, and yes, it'll probably change come next month, probably. But yeah, that's my list. I really hope you enjoyed and stayed and watched this video. Sorry about the length, but I had to get that out of the way. This is Private Mittens. Hope you guys enjoyed. See you next time. Take care, guys, and see you later. Bye.